To all forces stationed in foreign states, return immediately to your home fortresses. In accordance with the wishes of our Lord Jandar, his banner will no longer fly above lands that are not legally his. All offensive campaigns are heretofore discontinued. What's up, Heroscapers? Thanks for tuning in to A Hero's Escape, your place for all things Heroscape. Today I've got for you another lore video. Yes, we are not done yet, but this is the last one probably for the time being until Renegade Studios releases more. It feels a little weird to say that we're not going to be doing Thormoon's journal this time because we ran out of those. Someone did comment that they might have access to those, but needs to get permission from Hasbro, and said that if they do, I think this is what they meant, unless I misunderstood, that if they did have them, they would try to send them my way if they get the permission. So that would be great. It feels weird not having that completed lore. It felt like just cut off in a weird spot. But nonetheless, Renegade Studios has thankfully brought back the journals with Sonlen's journals. And here's the description on the wiki here as a preface. Sonlen's journals is a collection of fictional journal entries and letters from the elven archmage Sonlen, as he documents the events occurring in Valhalla after the fall of the peace summit that begins the Age of Annihilation. Which, if you got the Master set, it talks about that. Some of the scenarios are based around this peace summit, and I think a lot of this lore comes out of the different rule books and stuff. They often include letters and correspondence from other Heroscape characters. These entries are released alongside the monthly Age of Annihilation online scenarios. That's where they come from. Continuing the story laid forth in the 2004 to 2010 period of the franchise in Thormoon's journals. So there you go. They are continuing to release these as they make more online scenarios, and I'll talk a little bit about that too, since this is the first of these videos for Sonlen's journals. This talks about how, never mind, we won't. Basically, Renegade Studios is releasing regular scenarios on the Heroscape website. I'm not sure exactly what the frequency is of those releases, but it's really cool because when you get the scenario guides and the sets, they only come with a handful of scenarios and maps to build, but now you can go to Heroscape.com, Renegade's website, and actually get more scenarios, so that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and begin. It starts off with Sonlen's journal, entry number 1, 19th day of Astara. Fractured. The bonds of alliance are fractured. Amidst the first hint of the war's end, representatives of the most influential generals gathered. Knight Irene and her mighty Ursine presented for Jandar. Taro the Hatamoto and his retainers lobbied for Einar. Queen Kirion, a Kyrie of unknown nobility, claimed to represent Vidar, and I do have that miniature somewhere. It's our first Vidar Valkyrie, which looks like a drow from D&D for the most part. Zenithrax the dragon and her aide Darrens the bard spoke on behalf of Aquila. So who is Darrens? Okay, this is just mentioned in the story. We don't know. Leviatak and the turncoat Raylan stood in service of the vile Utgar. The turncoat Raylan, hold on. Now this is interesting because as we can see the miniature here, she's looking a little strange with her red wings and whatnot. This is Raylan, the classic Raylan. And the card shows that she's on the Utgar faction. I've gotten a little bit of information about some of this, but now we're going to find it out together in this journal. I myself spoke on behalf of Lord Olar, alongside Tamin the Hunter. And I don't know who all these people are, so I'm having to click on them, because not all of them have figures. Unforeseen to all of us, though, was the arrival of Revna, a new Valkyrie general wishing to reach peace as well. Her advocates, Mizerx and Rakchot, left many soldiers across the various armies uneasy. A Kyrie back from the dead and a soul-bending wizard did not instill a great deal of trust in this new contender's goals. As negotiations were underway, infighting began across the different generals' encampments. What started as a spark of petty squabbles quickly ignited into an inferno of indignance. It did not take long before any negotiations were called off and the forces all retreated a distance after skirmishing. Since the peace summit, suspicion and a bitter hate have sprouted up in people's hearts. At the brink of respite, the weary nations have been plunged into a renewed war, maintaining their views that peace cannot be achieved until all threats are removed from the world of Valhalla. With the timing of Lady Revna's arrival, it was not long before the correlation between her public revelation and the summit's collapse firmly etched itself into the midst of all. While a select few seek answers in fact and investigation, most seek them in blood and retribution. I fail to see the benefit for a general to announce their eminence before instigating attacks, only to immediately deny any involvement. Convincing my soldiers, however, was not fruitful. Pleased for patience are melodies oft unheard by battle-deafened ears. Multiple war bands have splintered out of the various armies, some even unifying across banners in the cause of justice. While the various encampments reorganize and fortify themselves, many soldiers depart from their camps seeking retaliation, chasing the bulk of Revna's forces all the way to Anund. Tonight, Valhalla weeps. It weeps the bitter tears of one who has tasted relief, only for it to be crushed underfoot once more. While we await orders from our generals, it has become difficult to know who we can trust. Old wounds have been reopened, and it is unclear if any of the long-standing bonds of the past still hold any of the Valkyrie together in alliance. I do not know if my intuitions of Revna's involvement are correct, but regardless of who is responsible, I mourn the peace that shall not be. Alright, so that's our first journal entry, and I gotta say, I think they did a good job tying this in with the old Thormoon's Journals story. It talks about the alliance of the generals and all this, but now it basically is allowing them to reset the story a little bit without discrediting what happened before. So this peace summit, things went wrong, and now they don't know who can be trusted and whatnot, bringing everyone at odds with each other again. So they're still acknowledging the previous story and that it happened without retconning it, basically. I saw some people on YouTube talking that they didn't like the new lore from Renegade and stuff, and we'll have to find out. But this first entry I thought was a pretty good start to it, and so I've got high hopes. But we'll read a little bit more here. We'll get a little further. The next one is from the pen of Shiori, 9th of Dagmar. You told me to blend in with the crew, to steal their secrets, to follow wherever they go. This is to Sonlen, by the way. This has led to sneaking aboard an awful boat. And I write this in a cramped space beneath the deck. That's kind of a weird description, an awful boat. But the old ones weren't necessarily always great either. We'll keep reading. You would be proud, though. I have done it all with stealth and disguise, and have shed no blood. Yet. The ship is called the Viper's Blood. It is the one emblazoned with decapitated black serpents, their severed heads spurting ruby blood. It escaped Vile Cove after the summit along with a few others, the Griffelin's Fancy, the Voidwing, and the Lark. I count 52 aboard the ship. There are at least that many on board the others, and even more ships in the fleet. We're on our way to rendezvous with the rest. Alright, I'm sorry for stopping between so many of these, but if Renegade or anyone happens to see this video, I have to ask, please make a ship set. I don't know about anyone else, but I have always wanted to have like a pirate ship Heroscape board or something like that. Would be so cool in my opinion. Especially if we can combine it into the actual terrain and make it like in the water or something. It would just be really cool. And I don't know. I was happy to read that because I thought, do they have something in mind? Okay. These people are a lot like me, Sonlen. Runaways and rebels. I knew Einar had his deserters, but I never dreamed there were this many. And from other Valkyrie, too. I see faces from Earth. I see faces from Phaland and Alpha Prime and worlds I don't even know. I wonder if things had gone differently after Zoltiaka, if this might have been all of us, Drake, and Raylan and the Major. If this might have been all of us, Drake and Raylan and the Major. Living free. Their offer of a life unfettered by any Valkyrie is tempting, but I have already found my own path. I don't really know what this all means. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Sergeant Drake is a soldier, and he's doing the work for Jandar, hoping that he's going to get sent back to Earth, I guess, once it's done. Zoltiaka, what it mentioned here, is a map from Swarm of the Morrow. Just so we know. It's part of the swamp area. Like another hive, all this. It's very cool how all these maps and scenarios play into the lore. Anyway, I look like any other deserter, and they haven't noticed one more girl from Earth in the crowd. I wander the ship like a phantom and I listen, and these people talk loud. From their chatter, I've gathered that they're almost as clueless as we are when it comes to the wellspring poison. Their orders come from an unseen master in the form of glass bottles. Strange. Each one contains orders to carry out and a map to where the next set of orders can be retrieved. Orders come from an unseen master. Oh, so like, I don't know, magic or a message in a bottle or something. There's a Morrow captain aboard who reminds me of a drudge, but it appears he's made some modifications to his body equipment. Also, he wears trousers, which I find more unsettling than his cutlass. Okay, that stupid. Sorry, Renegade. That little sentence there was just dumb. I don't mean to be talking down about all the stuff, but that is just an attempt at humor that falls flat. That was not good. He hisses orders and stalks the deck, and most of the crew here are terrified of him. Not all, though. There's a big cow with a sword as tall as me named Mr. Breach. Oh, Cornelius Breach. I wouldn't call him a cow, but okay. And he has a look in his eye that says he might like to be Captain Breach. Breach almost caught me while I was pilfering one of those special bottles from the captain's quarters. I have to be more careful. There will be far less than 52 crew members aboard if I have to start covering my tracks. I'm sending you the bottle along with the papers inside. I think the glass is enchanted, so don't get your mind stuck in it. We've had enough of that. The instructions are to poison part of the wellspring in Tikala. Whoever is pulling the pirates' strings, they're hiding their face, and poisoning the peace summit was just the start. I dread to think of what will come next. We're on our way to collect the next set of orders. I'm going to try and jump ship before that happens. Stay safe. Say hello to Major Q10 for me if you see him, and tell Drake to stop trying to get in touch with me. He's going to blow my cover one of these days. Alright, we'll keep going. I don't know about that one. But now we have back to Sonlen speaking, responding to Shiori. Cleverest Shiori, your intuition is correct. The glass is enchanted, although I would not expect someone with less than a century of magical practice to understand their nuances. The bottles are tied to predetermined destinations. Set adrift, they will always return to the same beach. A curious method by which to send a message, but then again, you and I find curious methods for our own correspondence too. Olar is not well, and affairs here are rapidly splintering. Although it's now clear the crew of the Viper's Blood and others are accountable for this madness, it may be too late to fully clear Revna's name of the chaos that unfolded at the Peace Summit, particularly when her forces continue to take ground. Major Q-10 is off assisting the front lines against her swarms. I would speak with Drake, but leading Jandar's northern army is no small task in these times. I have a feeling his thoughts are even now preoccupied with Raylan. I have had no luck in attempting to undo the effect that the wellspring poison has had on Olar. I will continue to try. In the meantime, his commanders are attempting to assert order. Atlaga insists on only defending Olar's fortress, but I fear Ziamara and Mielki search for opportunities to strengthen Olar's foothold in this time of crisis. Return home soon, preferably in one piece and undrowned. Sonlen. Okay, that one was better. So what I'm thinking is going on is that the sort of goofier sounding one was supposed to be written from Shiori. And I'm guessing that the writers of these are thinking, well, she's younger and they're trying to make her kind of goofy and like more like a teenager type would act. But I just think that fell flat. When we read Sonlen's writings, it feels better, in my opinion. I like the premise, though, that the kind of pirate type people are trying to poison the wellsprings, and I mean, that seems compelling. Yeah, I like that. So here is on notice of Commander Ziamara, 1st of Dagmar. Sonlen, not long after your departure, our forces intercepted a retreating company of Jandar soldiers. They were traveling through Ekstrom as they left the Trollsford outpost in Ostravik, so their detainment was mandatory. We let them go after some questioning and copied the information from a military dispatch they carried. We are reporting this information to Lord Olar as his extra monitoring orders dictate. His unprecedented mistrust appears to hold even Jandar's movements under a suspicious eye. I wanted to make sure you were aware of this new development, as well as Jandar's region-wide retreat. Here's a transcript of the intercepted dispatch. Dutifully. And then it's Ziamara, who is the new Kyrie with the gold armor. In the song of the Kyrie-coded font, Olar's condition worsens daily. May the wind carry you back to us swiftly. I like that they are keeping, the lore from the old stuff. We talk about the same locations, Ekstrom. They clearly are aware of the Alliance. It feels that the people writing this are aware and have read the prior lore, which is very reassuring. So, so far, so good. This is Jandar's dispatch, 25th of Astara. To all forces stationed in foreign states, return immediately to your home fortresses. In accordance with the wishes of our Lord Jandar, his banner will no longer fly above lands that are not legally his. All offensive campaigns are heretofore discontinued. Outpost companies are mandated to report to their new assignments within our territories. Southeastern Front reassignments, Drake's Finest, Upper Bleakwood Scouting Division, Idona Castle, Nostraland. Northreach Guard, Calden Fortress, Thalink. Ostful Idona Castle, Nostraland. Steadfast Hold Guard, Valgrind, Nostraland. Sigling Shore Watch, Valadon, Thalink. Trollsford Guard, Idona Castle, Nostraland. Signed, Sir Gilbert. So, okay, Sir Gilbert wrote this, I guess. The next one is from the pen of Sonlen on the 20th day of the month of Dagmar. I spoke with Ziamara before I left. Although I have long carried out Olar's will in Valhalla, his deteriorating faculties have turned his heart against me. That accursed poison saps his reason and makes him see foes behind every friendly face. Though his unwarranted suspicions have forced me out of his lands, his commander Ziamara continues to extend me friendship and provided me all I needed for my travels. Mielki, meanwhile, patrols the borders of Olar's lands, but I cannot say if all of the forces that she encounters will respond well to demands to leave Ekstrom. I cannot focus on this now. I must devote myself to attempting to cure Olar and the other poison Valkyrie before this land descends any further into madness. And for that, I must forge out into the pitiless war zone myself. I have made for the ancient Athenaeum in Lower. Don't know what that is. Athenaeum? This is in the Library of Lower. Hoping to search for any historical reference regarding these poisons. I fear I have arrived all too late. A group of Aquila's wizards had taken charge of the place, studying its ancient magics for the last several weeks. Perhaps they too were looking for a cure. With the collapse of the summit, they are suddenly surrounded by enemies instead of friends, and the library of great stone monoliths is now besieged from all sides. I wonder if the clashing warriors even know how to read the script they trample beneath their feet. Loss of gold or silver I can forgive, but loss of knowledge is a travesty. These Kyrie who in days gone by may have been trained as poets or arcanists are now readied solely for war, unable to decipher their own ancestral magics, or perhaps unwilling. I ought to pass less judgment on a people not my own. Either way, where I sought a lesson in history, there remains only destruction. Each of the library's pillars is a reservoir of magical power, designed to preserve the information hidden within for ages to come. But for these combatants, all that matters is that the enchantments can be broken for a shower of blue flame upon the heads of the enemy. And with each explosion, the records of bygone ages are lost forever. If this is how Valhalla treats the records of its own rulers, who will preserve our stories? We outcasts brought here from distant worlds to die. Who will even know that we existed? Will anyone remember us in the age to come? Shiori, I hope your efforts fare better than mine. And the last one here, I believe. Oh no, two more. From the pen of Elwashia, 22nd of Dagmar. To the attention of the Archmage Sonlen. Though we have not met face to face, word of your exploits and your honorable nature have made their way to me. There is also a rumor circulating that you seek a cure to the strange affliction that has so suddenly struck low the Valkyrie of the former alliance. If these rumors are indeed true, then we are of the same mind on this matter. For many cycles of the moon, I have sought to brew a cure for the strange poison and its effect on the mind. I have studied and experimented using my knowledge of the ebb and flow of life-giving waters and the secrets within. It would seem that the effects of the poison on its own are to incite violent rage and a loss of nearly all self-control. When mixed with water of the wellsprings, though, the effects become far more insidious, including paranoia, hostility, and a low withering of the body and the mind. Finally, this past fortnight, I thought that I had discovered the right combination of ingredients I have been searching for. So confident was I that I sought to test the antidote on willing volunteers from amongst our ranks. Sadly, it was too late that I realized my error. The concoction is imperfect. Though some were spared, many of those who partook of only a small dose of the poison were sent into a violent rage, blind to their allegiances or better senses. It is with great shame that I must admit the limitations of my knowledge. I fear that the secret to restoring sanity to the Valkyrie generals and order to this world is outside my abilities alone. However, and I hesitate to even share my suspicions for the danger it could pose if I am correct, I do believe there is one who may possess the hidden knowledge that we so desperately need. The wizard Rakchot has delved deep into the forbidden practices of death and decay, breaking some of the oldest taboos of our homeland. Though their pursuits are repulsive and their methods unthinkable, it has granted them a knowledge of the line between life and death that few others, even wizards such as ourselves, possess. If my sources are correct, they too have been summoned here to Valhalla in service of the Lady Revna. Unsurprising given her own penchant for necromancy. I would never suggest making contact with this individual if I did not think it was our only hope. I do not know how much time we have until the long-term effects of the poison are irreversible, or worse, fatal. I beg of you to seek them out in your travels and pass along my plea for aid, and the token I have enclosed to prove my sincerity. The beast who has brought this note to you is my loyal companion Anshu. I have instructed him to aid you on your quest. I would also advise you to seek out another who hails from my home world, and whom my sources tell me has been summoned to these lands by your own Lord Olar. His name is Halushia, and like myself, is a talented wizard. Though his demeanor can be odd at first, I believe you will find him to be an invaluable ally. Many years ago, you and your compatriots aided Aquila, my commander and savior, in defending the jungles of Tikala against the onslaught of Maro corruption. Once again, they nod back to the previous lore, which is great. And apparently this is several years later, which is interesting to read. And they're still in a band of Major Q10, Drake, Raylan, and Sonlen, and Shiori. That's interesting, that too. Your courage and wisdom helped to save my general's people. It is my sincerest hope that you may once again come to our aid in this time of uncertainty and dire need. With greatest sincerity and service of the High Priestess Aquila, the Master of Tides, Ewashia. That's who is signing this. In the Song of the Kyrie coded font. Where Lour and Nostraland embrace in dark water, a battle will be waged to end all wars. A storm that renders time and earth. A gale force that sweeps the sky away. The dead crawl from their graves to greet the one who will be master of Valhalla's fate. When all these come to pass, beware. Valhalla's future will be shaped. Thus writes Maladin the prophet. Oh, Maladin. From the pen of Shiori, 22nd of Dagmar. Sonlen. Something unexpected has happened as I monitor the pirates. While blending in with the Voidwings crew, I joined in on a mission to poison Jondar's wellspring in Nostraland. As we marched through a snowstorm, I contemplated the best way to sabotage these plans without revealing myself. Before I could, though, someone else spared me the trouble. It seems some of Utgar's forces, led by Leviatak of the Golden Axe, wanted the poison for themselves. They descended upon us like demons, slaughtering several crew members before wounding the ship's quartermaster and stealing the vial. Before they could finish killing off, though, one of Aquila's old dwarves rallied the rest of the crew and sent Utgar's forces on the retreat, poison in hand. Our survival was unexpected and only possible thanks to the rally and worsening weather. I am writing this from the Voidwing, where the survivors of the mission are recuperating. I've been thinking about the attack. Why were we targeted, and why would the attackers want the poison? It would make sense if Utgar wants to weaponize it, but stopping a poisoning in Jondar's domain seems too foolish for even that big red oaf. Why prevent an advantage against a sworn enemy? And why send a venerated champion like Leviatak that deep into enemy territory without announcing her presence to instill fear in the people of Lour and Nostraland? Something is not right. We need to keep an eye on Utgar's forces, and especially Leviatak. I am off to Bleakwood as soon as we next dock at port. Wait to send for me until I have established a new location. Signed, Shiori. And here's just some additional info real quick. Sonlen's journals encompass journal entries from Sonlen himself. Okay, we kind of read this. Pretty good, honestly. In fact, the only one of these that I thought was bad was the first letter from Shiori. All the rest were good. Even that last letter from Shiori was interesting. Again, I think the premise and the plot of this is pretty interesting as well, and I really like how they are nodding back to the prior lore. Clearly, the people at Renegade read the prior lore and understand it and are trying to write this while preserving that and not retconning it. So that's really great. I love to see that. They're not trying to change everything. They're also getting a good reset by kind of, making the whole peace summit go wrong, and now they're weary. All the generals are weary of each other and everything. So yeah, I think this is really good. I think this is pretty compelling story so far, and they did a good job. I'm excited to read more. As of right now, it appears that this is all we have. So I will have to I'll have to do another video when more is posted, pretty much. But if you guys like this video, hit the like button and go ahead and subscribe for more Heroscape content. I post all kinds of lore videos. All of Thormund's journals I've done videos of. You can go and watch those to get fully caught up to speed. I'll do a comprehensive lore video pretty soon, probably, now that I've read all of these. And thanks again for the support. I'll see you in the next video.